So what's up, everybody? What's going on? Got somebody on here very special today because something that I want to talk about. I want to talk about um, a big time issue that's raising a lot of eyebrows in the sports field, especially when it comes to basketball, and that is people dealing with the Achilles injury. So I brought my man on today, man from UNC, one of the Alpha Brothers Musetta crew up in the house, and he's out in LA, and he's helping athletes train, and he's involved with this. So everybody want to give it up for my man, Jermaine Hatley. Yo, Jermaine,
All
good to have
right.
you on the show today, my brother.
Appreciate you. It's been too long, Couch. Been
Hey,
too
man,
long.
it's been a long time, man. Look, you know what's so funny, man? It's like 30 years, brother. 30
Yeah,
years, man.
yeah.
Uh,
I've been out here for 25, so
and you know what's so cool about that, man? I remember talking to you about it, talking about what you want to do, and I just give you mad props for making it happen, man. You're out there rocking and rolling, brother. So much appreciation to you, man. Much appreciation. So over the past year, we've had 8 players in the NBA. Eight
yep.
players: Damian Lillard, Jason Tatum,
Hmm.
Tyrese Halliburton. We just saw that happen.
Yep.
DeJounte Murray, James Wiseman. We had a bunch of these guys getting these Achilles injuries, and before that, you had Kobe, and they weren't really big time. The first time I remember, a friend of mine and associate of mine were talking about it, and that was Dominique Wilkins. So with
Hmm.
you being out there,
We've also had some collegiate athletes. Juju Watkins down
yeah,
here at
that's right. I didn't even
USC.
get to Juju.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah,
combination of the ACL, the Achilles. It seems to be an uptick in these injuries,
yeah.
especially this past year or so.
So what are they talking about when you're talking to people in your field out there, talking to doctors? What are they contributing to the calf, the workouts? What is the word? I'm just really curious about what they're saying about this.
Well, to me, there are several factors. I think number one is just the basketball culture,
Mm,
as the amount of reps and the amount of games, and these guys and ladies are playing year round. They're playing on their collegiate team, their pro team. They're playing through the summer. I think a lot of this is just overuse.
okay.
We can also put in the fact that seasons are longer. We used to have 5 game playoff series. Now we're doing 7 game series for every series.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but but to me, I know Halliburton didn't play too much over the summer with the Olympics last summer, but he was
Mm,
still getting in those reps. He's still
right.
not completely resting and healing. So,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm finding this to be an issue with sports around across the board. So whether it's baseball,
Hmm.
soccer, basketball, you have athletes that are just repeatedly doing the same motions over and over and over and over again,
Right,
and they're
right.
not getting that rest. And
Uh-huh.
then I think, because of this repetitive action, and, you know, there are only a few, like, let's say, for example, LeBron. Or
Hmm.
Steph Curry, they put nearly $1 million into their body during the off season to train, and they're doing, you know, cross training. So they're not just doing basketball type
Right, right,
activities.
right,
They're
right.
also doing, weight training, functional style circuit training.
Hmm.
And so I don't think everybody is as disciplined as, the Curry and LeBron, like I mentioned. I don't think that most of these athletes are doing cross training. That
Right,
means doing some other type of training outside their specified sport,
right,
which
right.
challenges and puts different stresses on the body, and requires the body to use its biomechanics in different manners. So
Hmm.
I think overuse is probably the number one thing issue we've had. I mean,
Well, you just said something that got my attention. You talked about just playing the same thing over and over again, the same type of workout. But what I want to kind of add to that, because that's a good point, I can see that. But you look at guys back in the day, when we were in high school and school, wasn't just basketball.
Right.
Football, you had a lot of guys playing multiple sports, football,
Right.
basketball, and so forth. And Kevin Garnett was talking about that as well, but he was also talking about how they worked out.
Some of the trainers were talking about the lack of calf raises for some of the players to end their workout. Bro, we used to end a workout, especially on a leg day, calf raises. This is how I'm speeding up, this is how I'm stopping, this is my whole wiggle. If your calves ain't here. And on top of whenever I go to finish, I gotta be athletic enough to finish, right? Bro, when you start breaking that down, I'm watching how the technique of that, man, that is, to me, I'm watching. When you are working out and the coach gives the ball back to you to reset, he gonna tell you to get into a three. Bro, all this technique means something. First time, you know when you break technique? Man, when you get tired. When you get tired, I start standing up. Technique breaks down. I ain't showing it. I'm just trying to, you know what I'm saying? So when I watched it, man, they all three playing it the same way. And to me, yeah, that's what I saw.
You looked at Halliburton, you looked at Kobe, you looked at the way that they hurt, the way it popped when they did it. It was like the same move, up fake, and then coming down and
That
pushing
push
off.
off.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Mhm.
so are people thinking that maybe, like you just said, diversifying your workout, not
Mhm.
just playing basketball, but the weight training, swimming? You think a lot of players aren't doing enough of that, diversifying their workout?
Oh, they're
Could
definitely. I, I,
uh,
I, I know that the athletes that I see out here are not.
okay.
They're staying sport specific.
Mhm.
And you got to ask yourself, why don't we see track athletes getting Achilles tears all the time? They're
Yeah,
always on their heels are up, balls of their feet,
yeah,
pushing off, exploding.
yeah,
So I don't think that these basketball athletes, soccer, I don't think, baseball, I don't think they're actually doing specific training regiments that they're focusing on dynamic muscles. Let's say their quads or their hamstrings, but they're not focusing on tendons are the ends of the muscle that insert into the bone. So your Achilles
yeah.
tendon is the tendon, the end of the muscle from the gastrocnemius, your calf muscle that
Right.
inserts into your heel. And so, if you watch teams stretch and warm up before games, you see them stretching out their hamstrings, right? You see
Yeah.
out their quads, but they're not paying attention to the smaller stabilizing muscles and tendons that obviously need some more attention. We
Right.
have in
Right.
Manhattan Beach here, we have the big sand dunes. You'll see athletes doing walking, running, jumping up the sand dunes, getting that resistance with the sand.
Hmm.
There's definitely a variety of other activities that they could do. I don't know if the work ethic has changed as well, and people are relying more on their skill set or more on their talent and not really, pushing themselves like a LeBron or a Kobe or a
Hmm.
Steph,
Yeah.
making themselves better and better.
I'm looking at that when you're talking about the overuse. You were talking about the tendon connecting
Hmm.
to the bone.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why it's so vulnerable to these types of things happening? And what are some things that trainers, people like yourself, have been told and advised by doctors that would be helpful to kind of prevent that from happening? Because my wife, you know my wife,
Oh,
yeah,
deep. Oh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
oh yeah.
So with our son, my son,
Playing
she's like,
basketball.
yeah, she's like, what are you doing? Make sure you're, taking care of yourself. But with this, I'm kind of like, what is the thing to do? Should we do more calf raises? Um, One of the things that he's doing, he's working at end zone. So he's in an athletic facility. So he's got access to everything. And one of the
Okay.
things that his coach wants them to do is not to necessarily go balling out. They got
Right.
weight room training. They got certain things they do. They got yoga that they're going to work on. And
Hmm.
for me, when I'm looking at this, I'm really trying to figure out what type of exercises should they do. Like I said, we know that a lot of guys are just focusing on their sport, but the
Yeah.
kids who are focusing on their sport and the
Hmm.
parents who you wouldn't believe how many parents have reached out to me asking me about this. Couch, what do you think? What do you think? What are
Right.
some things that these athletes can kind of start implementing?
Well, first of all, I think they need more rest.
Ah, okay.
Rest is just as important as the work.
Okay.
And like
Yeah.
that's why we are getting why we I was talking about the problem with overuse because
Mm.
they're not having any downtime to
Uh-huh.
recover. You know,
Right.
uh,
Right.
ideally, Halliburton shouldn't have been playing in Game 6 and Game 7, but we know because of the business model that wasn't an option, right? Like I was just talking to a few of my friends. I was like, he's going to be prone to tear his calf or rip that Achilles, and boom, then it happens. It's like
Man, that hurt too because just like you said, I'm thinking, okay, it's calf. We've already had these other Achilles. We had Tatum go down last, and he's going out there with a calf strain, a calf
yeah,
strain.
it was kind of predictable.
Yeah, it was predictable. And when it happened, I was saying to myself, oh man, he's having a good game. But as soon
Yeah,
as he made that move and went down, I said, damn.
yeah.
So
And now it's going
yeah,
to be a 2-year turnaround for him because he's going to miss next season,
yep.
and then he's going to have to come back in
20,
27,
20, 20, 26, 27. Yeah, yeah.
27,
Probably not
and
even come back into 27. You're right. Yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so, but as far as what people need to be doing besides getting that rest, yes, they need to be
Mm,
doing plyometrics, the jump training,
mm-hmm.
bounding, which is obviously going to engage Achilles, calf, all the lower body. We're out here by the beach, so training with that resistance, with that sand, that's
Mm-hmm.
also going to be beneficial. Uh, Ankle
So that really
stability.
helps being out there
Yeah. Oh
having
yeah.
that. Okay,
I
okay.
think so. I think that resistance training,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, aquatic training is also great. That's something you can do even with an injury because that
Yeah, yeah.
your the gravity is taken away. You have that buoyancy, and so you can actually get some great movement in a
Right,
pool
right.
situation. But I think a lot of people need to do more stretching, man. We don't pay attention to the stretching, the
Mm-hmm.
lengthening of the muscles and the tendons, the elongating. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
a lot of folks are stretching pre or post workout.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's this big discussion about low tops versus high tops. Everybody's transitioned to the low
Yeah,
top shoes, and that's not really. I haven't seen any studies that have proven that. Maybe one can high tops might prevent you from rolling your ankle a little bit less
right,
than maybe a
right.
low top shoe. You have more contact points on the ankle and the foot with a high top than a low, but everybody's wearing lows now.
Yeah,
Very
yeah. Lows and
lows and
quarter
mids,
tops.
lows and
Yeah,
mids,
yeah, yeah.
but I haven't seen anything that suggests that, that is a part of the problem. I know
Mm-hmm.
a lot of athletes wrap their ankles, tape their ankles. A lot of them wear these Velcro or the lace up ankle braces underneath as well. But
Mm.
I
That
don't
don't
think
seem
it's the
like it.
shoes.
I don't think that would really do anything when you got the
Yeah,
tendon. I mean,
yeah,
I'd look at it protecting the ankle if you twist, but
yes,
that
yes,
tendon is inside. It's going. If it's going to
right,
pop, it's going
yeah.
to pop, right?
Right. Oh yeah, it's
Yeah,
gonna pop a bit.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
one of the most painful injuries an athlete can have is that Achilles tear from
And they got to
what I
go up in there and
know.
pull it back down and attach it,
Yeah,
right?
that window shade. It usually detaches from the heel and it shrivels up and back into the calf
Ugh.
storage.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, so it's quite something. Um,
What would you say to these parents out here who are concerned about that? What would you recommend to these parents to kind of approach it to make sure that those who are worried about something like this happening, like they worry about concussions, how can they approach this?
well, I'm still not. As far as the culture goes, people in basketball, especially, they're doing AAU, they're doing year-round basketball.
Right, right.
I I am,
Say it, man,
I
say
think they need to take
it.
the summer off and do something else.
All right,
Take the
yeah.
summer off. You can work on your skill sets and whatnot, but I don't think
Hmm.
people need to be hooping 24/7.
Right.
I think putting your child in a swim program or
Mm.
even a track program where you're going to learn
Right.
how to warm up the lower body. You're going to learn and you're going to participate in drills that are going to train specifically the Achilles, the calf, your anterior tibialis, your shin muscles. You're gonna learn those different drills and warm ups
Mm.
to really that will make the tendons and muscles stronger and will reduce the risk of your injury. So I
Gotcha.
would say try not to play these sports year round if you can.
Yeah.
Take a break. It's okay. You can do another activity and still have the conditioning. Put your child in a different surface, from a court to a field, from a field to the pool. Try to, trainers I'm talking to. I have some friends in North Carolina and that are trainers, and these kids start 10, 11, 12, and that's just it consumes them. They're traveling, they're doing all this, but it's a year round between their private club team and their
Ooh,
school team. And
I get, bro. I can tell you, yeah. They look, it can be a lot, but one of the things that you talked about is one of the things that you do have some AAU coaches out there that are starting to really trying to emphasize, not
okay.
doing a whole bunch of tournaments. You got some kids going out to tournaments every weekend. Say, for instance, you heard of Spooky Nook? That's up in Pennsylvania, big AAU spot. They got like 87 courts there, some ridiculous number, 57 to 87 courts. But you can have kids playing 2 games each day. Two
Mm-hmm.
games, a game in the morning at 8 o'clock,
Yeah.
game in the afternoon, 3 o'clock. Do the same thing on Sunday. Play 2 games, and if you register properly, you might end up playing 2 more games so you get into the championship. That's 6 games in 48 hours,
Wow.
up and down a court. And during the week, they may be practicing three
Yep.
times, but they're
Yep.
not doing the calisthenics, the workout. There's no time away from the court. One of the things that we used to have to do is that, you have to get that 6 minute mile. You remember that in high school. So
Yep.
yeah, you had guys like me, on the basketball team, we're training with the cross country guys. We're trying to, but one thing that
Mm-hmm.
was good about that, you think about it now, we're
Yep.
doing something different. We're building up our stamina, but we're not necessarily playing basketball. We're not
Right.
stopping real quick. We're not pushing off. We're not jumping. We're
Right.
just building up. And so I kind of like that idea you're talking about, taking some time off and maybe just doing something else. Still work on your game,
Mm-hmm.
but the playing, the actually scrimmage, sometimes you just need to go in the gym and put up 1,000 shots. That could
Yeah.
be your workout. Not
Yep.
necessarily playing, 1,000
Right.
shots.
Working
Work
on a
on,
skill set.
the skill set, work on the skill
Mm-hmm.
set. But yeah, man, all that information, man, you provided, man, is very helpful, man. And, you know, I just appreciate your time taking
Oh,
out some time to come
oh,
chat with me about this, man, because I just want people to realize that it is kind of new. People are trying to figure out what's going on.
yeah.
And I thought, talking to you, you're out there, you're with these people, everybody's seeing it happen, and you're
Yeah. Yeah.
training people. So, Jermaine, I mean, is there anything left, anything else that you would like to say to kind of tell people, in terms of working out? And also, man, if you got a IG page, TikTok, man, let us know about that too, bro. So,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
I must admit, Couch, I must admit, I have been resistant to the technology over the years, but I'm trying to do better.
Okay.
So, by the end of the year here, I'm hoping to have a website up and running. I want to start posting some short video clips of, different types of exercise, whether that be strength training or flexibility, balance work. Everybody needs balance work as well, especially the older
Okay.
we get, the more we have to pay attention to that.
Yeah, man.
So
Sometimes I stand up and I hurt my knee just standing up. So,
just standing up, yeah, I did that with my back the other day. I was like, oh, wow.
yeah,
Getting
yeah.
older is painful. But
Hmm.
we definitely all need to be working on our flexibility, our balance, and our strength, and strengthening our midsection, keeping that strong.
Working
I
on
like
that
to call
core.
Yes, I
Working on
like
that
to
core.
call, it's kind of like functional training. You want to work out to be able to move and to hang out with the kids and
Hmm.
potential grandkids one day.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but yeah,
yeah.
you can find me on Facebook under Freedom Fitness or under
Okay.
my name, Jermaine Hatley, as well. You can find me under Brother Hat, I think, on IG, Brother Hat,
Right,
HAT.
right. You got to give a shout out to your Musada brothers, man.
Oh, no
So
doubt, no
yeah,
doubt.
yeah, yeah.
Shout out
So
to the mighty Musada, A5A. None
Uh,
greater, you know. Folks listening to this don't know, but Couch back in the day was our fraternity DJ, DJ Couch. And if you talk to anybody at the University of North Carolina in the late 90s, they will know who Couch is. They will know about the
uh,
Sigma Nu jams. They'll know about
woo,
Fruit
man,
Punch. Tell them about
man,
Fruit Punch.
man. Yo, man, those some good. You know what's so funny, man? I got all these VHS videos with
Oh,
so many of those parties from Gray Hall,
we need
Sigma
to
Nu.
convert those. We need to
Man,
convert
no,
those.
I've been doing it. I've been
Oh,
doing it
okay.
bit by bit. And
Okay.
hopefully by December, man, you wouldn't believe how many tapes. And so with the tapes, you got to sit there and let them play. So one
Okay.
tape, you got 6, maybe 8 hours of footage. But
Mm-hmm.
man, I got the BW3 jams on video, man. So,
Oh, wow.
so I'm
And
trying to get this
we
done.
next year in April,
Mm.
all the alphas from Musée to Carolina will be converging. It's MZ50, 50th
Oh,
anniversary. So it's going to be going down. Everybody and their brother
mm.
will be there. So we'll definitely have to keep you posted.
Yeah, you got to keep me
Gotta
posted on that, man.
reminisce.
Definitely, man. But yo, Jermaine, thanks so much, man. I appreciate your professional opinion on this. And everybody, thank you for checking us out. We got more coming later with Couch Chat. And like I always say, just keep rocking and rolling, everybody.
All
Peace.
right.